This is one very strange motorway. It's littered with wrecked cars, downed aircraft, and burnt-out buildings. It's like nothing I've seen before.
It does show up on satellite pictures, but it's not on any map, and there's certainly no signs telling you how to get there. That's because it's the M96, Britain's secret motorway.
But you can all relax. The M96 is a specially built section of motorway at the Fire Service College close to Moreton-in-Marsh in the Cotswolds. It's one of a number of facilities on the site.
Clearly you've got a collapsed building here. What else is on site?
Well, we've really got the whole range to replicate anything a firefighter or the emergency services might encounter. We've got an aircraft, we've got a ship, hydrocarbon, chemical plant. The list is endless.
And it's all about a sense of realism. I suppose that's where having a motorway at the heart of your site here comes into its own.
This is the place that crews learn, gain their experience. If they get it wrong, it's not life-threatening.
Today, the One Show is going to be right at the heart of the action. A major motorway incident is being simulated. This car is going to be set alight. Another 2 cars over there will have trapped and injured passengers. And we're going to be right alongside the firefighters whose job it is to deal with it.
The surreal nature of this place is only heightened by the presence of people who specialise in realistic but fake injuries. The Casualties Union.
Right. Kathy, Frank, that looks like a heck of a sore head.
Yeah.
I can only guess what's going on here. So you're going to be the casualties today, are you?
Yeah, we are.
You've got blood dripping down your face. So what is this injury I'm looking at, first of all?
She's been in this upside down car,
Right.
which so she's been spun around and her head is hit probably the dashboard. I've got blood that I'll put where the impact has been, so it'll look as if she has hit the dashboard. And this represents a head injury. It's not a serious head injury, but it should it should simulate to the fire brigade that she's had a hard blow to the head, which might be C-spine injury, cervical spine injury. So they're going to have to immobilise her neck to get her out of the car.
Now, you guys are experts at this, aren't you? I mean, is this something you do quite regularly?
Yes, we work at the Fire Service College generally a couple of days a week,
Yeah.
helping train extrication from vehicles, buildings, tunnels, everything. And anywhere somebody might need to be extricated, we work. We call it rehearsing for somebody else's mishap.
Right, okay.
But it's the only way the fire brigade get to train
Okay.
with real casualties.
And are you going to put more blood on? What's the level like?
We
more blood.
just
Bit
want,
more blood,
we just
why
want
not?
a bit of a run down her face.
And Kathy, you take this very seriously, don't you? The detail has to be just right.
Oh
Yeah,
we
yeah.
won't do any injuries that are not compatible with the crash.
Yeah.
We don't misrepresent at all, and we try and produce scenarios that will be challenging for the fire brigade.
Am I right in thinking there's awards for sort of, most realistic injury and stuff? There's even sort of accolades. There are.
There is actually. So, yeah.
The main award is the Lotus Trophy for the best performing branch. Then there is the best acting performance, which was won by our 84-year-old branch leader, Jill Bash. She won the best acting for playing a blind lady in a train crash.
Oh, brilliant.
And,
She's the Judi Dench of the,
yeah,
of the
that's
crash
right.
world.
She is.
So, Kathy, we're going to get you in this car, aren't we? That's the
Okay.
plan. And there is some acting involved. You're going to be sort of in pain as the fire crews approach, is that right?
Yeah, panicky, frightened, worried, want to get out of the car basically. So that would be, and we take the level up depending how experienced they are.
Okay.
We're now ready to go. Kathy and Frank climb into their vehicles and I join the firefighters who get the emergency call. Finally, the other car is set ablaze. Time for action. Kathy now makes her bid for a Casualties Union Oscar.
So I'm going to manage that area. Let me know what you need, yeah? Well, for one, the situation is we'll have 2 live casualties.
Instructor Mark Gilbert is my guide.
They've been very quick to put that out. That's sort of a distraction. There's other guys working over here as well, aren't there? There's two things going on.
We would have a crew looking after that while the rest of the crew are evaluating the scene.
Stabilising the vehicles is a priority. This is an exercise, but things could still go wrong.
Break your glass. Cut in. Cut in. Cut in. Cut in. Well, then that's it. There's no room there. Slide. Rest.
And ultimately, I mean, this has been a very realistic situation, partly because we are standing on a motorway.
Absolutely, that's why people continue to come to the Fire Service College for this type of training, because we can replicate this type of incident on this type of scale, which better prepares the rescue services for the type of work they may face on the motorways, yes.
Cutting! Go through that.
Okay, we're just coming down now, Frank. All right, steady on, Frank. Happy? All right?
We've got a long one. Ready, brace, slide. All right, Frank. Ready, brace, slide. Just a bit more than he's on. To grab just a tad, couple of inches. Okay. Ready, brace, lift. Okay, we'll just move towards me, towards the head, Okay, come around, feet round, feet round, feet round. Now move forward into the back of the ambulance. And ready, brace, lower.
Kathy and Frank have been rescued unscathed. Another job well done.
Good.
Nice one, thank you.
But they'll soon be back for another exercise because the college is a world leader, providing training for rescue teams from 120 countries.
A head-on smash and maximum impact on a young audience watching this dramatic reconstruction of what happens when a packed passenger train hits a stranded vehicle at a level crossing. These casualties are only actors, but the services racing to their aid are real, giving up valuable time and resources to demonstrate the harsh realities of messing around on the railways.
Well, it's a really good event for us to showcase to the young people just what could happen, you know, if they were to mess around, muck around on the railway tracks or, you know, near the stations and on the trains.
She's done it! She's done it!
Each year, thousands of pounds worth of damage, serious injuries and even deaths are caused by youngsters looking for thrills on the country's rail network. British Transport Police hope that showing teenagers firsthand the dangers involved will shock them into staying away.
It was quite scary actually when all the smokes started coming out and people started coming out hurt and there's like old people on the floor.
It kind of makes you realise that it affects a lot of people more than just yourself.
It just shows like people are my age and older, like what the consequences are, and it shows you the bigger picture.
Come on! It's dangerous, man! Come on!
These displays, costing £20,000 to stage, will be witnessed today and tomorrow by more than 1,200 school children, a campaign receiving widespread support from all three emergency services.
All of this behaviour has terrible consequences potentially. Its impacts on the blue light services, all the emergency services responding, injuries, as well as they will see arrests are made.
And for these children, time out of the classroom has provided important lessons on how to stay safe this summer. Gail Mellors in Stratford-upon-Avon for Central Tonight.
join me at a scene of utter devastation. The whole of the front of the building has collapsed. There is hundreds of tons of rubble. We do not know if anybody is trapped inside. Now, it seems incredible to say, but just a couple of hours ago, this was a DIY superstore. It was crowded with shoppers. We know that. The first emergency services have begun arriving. More are on their way.
So I just want you to reconnoitre around the outside. There are some casualties. Ambulance crews are on their way. So tie in with them as and when, yeah?
We're waiting for the dim officer to do a dim sweep before we can make sure it's safe. It's just a matter of waiting now for the relevant officer.
West Yorkshire are tasked to search for casualties, right? So they're identifying casualties and they're taking off surface casualties now.
Right, okay.
From there, we'll paint the picture of how many casualties in difficult extrication we've got,
right.
And we'll deploy more heavy-duty rescue teams in.
Okay.
So at this stage, they've done the risk assessment and the safety officer for West Yorkshire is there.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want you to do now is oversee the complete rubble site,
right.
And more importantly, start planning for the heavier rescue teams coming in. And
right. This was actually one of the surface casualties, but the reason it's taken so long to bring him down is that the USAR teams had other priorities. They had people who were in a far worse condition than this man. Okay, make sure he's secure, all the way up and on, okay, hands off.
No sensation from the neck down, no feeling. Expressing some difficulty in breathing, although his rests were maintained around 17 to 20 throughout. His tachycardic about 120. His blood pressure's been quite stable. A bag of fluid running up on him.
Have you actually done a blood pressure, or are you just going on radials at this stage?
Just gone on radials.
Okay.
Let's actually get some warm air in there, because at the moment all this is insulating him. Okay, so let's get some warm air in there, okay, and you'll get some heat to you, right? Okay, let's look at your fingers. Okay, body warmth is the quickest and easiest way of doing it, yeah? You see, when the outside's warm, what we want to do is warm you from the outside, and then we'll put the warm stuff back on you, so we go out, alright?
Most of these people are members of the Casualties Union. They are unpaid volunteers. In fact, most of them have taken 2 days unpaid off work to be here.
These casualties have come from Casualty Union. My responsibility here at the USAR site is to look after their welfare, make sure they've got the right personal protective equipment on them before they go on the rubble, and then noting the time that they go on the rubble and the time they get back, so we've got a record, and also making sure that if 40 go on, 40 come back. The people in the room are due to go on the site shortly. They will either go on the rubble, be placed on the rubble, or alternatively they'll be put inside tunnels.
My job is to make it as real as I can, realistic for the players, realistic for those watching, realistic for those evaluating, so that we get an accurate representation of what might happen.
Unable to walk unaided, chest injuries, multiple rib fractures, deaf from blast and breathless.
What's the screenplay?
We've got a database of some 36,000 characters and can represent a couple of thousand traumatic casualties and produce the data very, very quickly.
Tell us about your symptoms. What are you suffering from?
So I've been overcome by sarin. One of the main causes is that it's shutting down my nervous system, and therefore very, very pale, asphyxiation, and hence the lightening of the skin.
Easy to spot or difficult to spot for a paramedic?
For a paramedic, it should be pretty easy to spot. The difficulty which we've got is obviously the light in here as opposed to the light outside can be very, very different. So we're having to make it quite obvious in here. Hopefully when it goes outside, it will be a little bit less obvious.
and then blue and grey either side. That will bring it into relief.
After your briefing last night, have you got any questions about the symptoms of sarin poisoning that you're going to play?
Yeah, the only thing that worries me is if you're going to breathe in fast and quickly, you're not going to be able to keep up all the time, else you're going to hyperventilate for the real, aren't you?
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons that the respiration rate is actually recorded for you. Yes, give an impression when they first come and see you that you're breathing quickly, but obviously don't breathe yourself unconscious.
And at what point do you want us to actually go unconscious then?
When the exercise starts and you start to get paramedic people coming towards you, I want you to be mobile, walk towards them, but sort of crumple and relax to the floor.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that they get the impression that you're actually deteriorating in front of them.
Right.
We'll be with you in a minute.
Ready, brace, and left. Slide it to the end.
Do you want to, he's going up first, we'll keep the head round this way to me, yeah?
Ready, brace. Thanks. Hold it there a second.
You alright?
Ready, brace, slide.
Ready, brace, lift. Ready, brace, lift.
We can pass it over this way to get a few more over. Lift.
Sorry, can you say your name again?
It's Alice.
Alice. Alice, this is the London Fire Brigade. We're going to try and make access to you with you shortly. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the nature of your injuries?
My shoulder's hurting.
Your shoulder's hurting.
Do you think they're best coming out this way? Oh, Emma. This lady's only got a cat refill of 2 seconds. Yeah, that's fine.
1, 2, 3, lift. Yes. We've got a real women going off.
Can you hear us?
I think they're away for the lunch.
Jackie?
Yes.
Just sit tight for me and try and count your breathing for me. You think you can do that?
I'm trying. Yeah, I can see your camera. Yeah, you're looking at the unconscious lady. Can you see her?
We've got some allergies here. Have you got any chocolate though?
No chocolate, unfortunately.
Describe to me conditions in there and why on earth you do this.
Because we're bloody idiots. Is that good enough?
It's more fun than learning to play tennis.
And it's very uncomfortable. I have a piece of wood where you really don't want to know where it is. Yeah. No, we do it because we enjoy it. Yes. We do enjoy it. And as long as the services make the most of it, then that's good enough for us. Yeah. As long as you get something out of it, we've done our job.
I take it claustrophobia isn't something any of you suffer from.
Hopefully not. No.
How do you think today's gone?
Slowly. It's an interesting new experience, and I'm sure we're doing a valuable job. I have to be sure because I'm soaking wet.
They've just dropped a probe down to talk to you.
Nice. But I'm unconscious. Tell me when I can go unconscious again.
Now.
Thank you.
mate? Can you hear me, mate? Ned? Yeah. We're going to get some more bodies in here, mate. Got another P1 patient here with chest injuries. Right. So I want another team of 2.
Nicola.
Edie! Edie!
You're Nicola, aren't you? Let me pop this round your wrist.
A dirty breach going next door, so it's going to get very, very noisy, okay?
Alright, cheers,
All right. Step up onto me.
There might be one on the other side, mate. Ask him for a giving set. Karen, is there any giving sets up there? Giving set? Yeah. Guys? Yeah, we've got. Have we got any fluid? I just want to give it. Yeah, we've got fluid. Just in giving set. Structure. Hey, structure. Yeah, structure. Nick.
A recipe for disaster. 2 boys playing on a railway line in South Warwickshire. They've been messing around with the points and it leads to an unmanned cargo train rolling onto a busy rail line. On hand to watch the drama unfold, 200 children from schools in Birmingham and Lichfield. And within minutes, a passenger train appears. Before long, a full-scale emergency is underway, a real-life drama unfolding in front of the children.
Get on the crossbar, let's go!
First, the walking wounded appear, and then attention turns to rescuing those more seriously injured.
Well, the aim of the exercise was to make things look as realistic as possible, and it seems that the emergency services have managed to achieve that.
It was really good, the way it sort of crashed into everything and everyone was all hurt.
It's not good to play on train tracks because things like this can really happen.
Amazing, because it is all because of 2 boys playing football on the tracks.
I don't think children always realise that walking on railway lines and starting to do things that they believe aren't going to cause any damage can have the severest of consequences. Today, as we've seen, the likely or the possible result of those kinds of actions.
Eventually, the 2 boys in this mock exercise were arrested, a warning to other children that not only may they put their lives at risk, they could end up in the back of a police car. Kevin Reid, BBC Midlands Today, South Warwickshire.
To be able to draw on trained people to deal with disaster is essential, and here at the Fire Service's National Training College they prepare for any type of disaster you can imagine. But even they need help, and for realistic training exercises this comes in the shape of the Casualties Union.
OK then, we'll just do a couple of safety points. Has everybody been here before? Yeah. When you actually get into the vehicles you must have hard hat on, you must have gloves on and you must have glasses on. Once you get yourself into the vehicle, make yourselves comfortable, look for any glass that's in there, obviously because the vehicles have been crushed and crashed and what have you. Make yourself comfortable, get yourself in a comfortable position because you may be in there sometime.
I used to belong to the St John's Ambulance, and knowing the benefits of having live casualties when we were training for competitions and stuff, that I decided to join the other side, like, you know.
I've always been interested in it, and I heard a talk on the radio asking for volunteers, so I went along to the next meeting, and that was it. I was hooked.
One of the main things you need to know is the word for real. You are obviously going to be acting your injuries. If you've got a leg injury and they aggravate it, you're going to start shouting, you're going to start screaming, you're going to be in pain. Pretend. Anything they do that you feel unsafe about, any procedure that they're doing that you think the metal's coming near it or you're a little bit frightened, just use it for real, stop doing that. You can be slumped forward, and if you can, just so hopefully
difficult breathing.
They'll bring your neck back, put your head in neutral. Try and keep asking, pressuring them, how's my wife?
Yeah.
Because what we do is, dummies are dead.
Yeah.
So, how's my wife? I can't talk to her. My wife. And start pressuring them, because they shouldn't tell you she's dead, basically. You've seen the accident happen.
Yeah.
You've broke as best as you can, but it didn't work. If you try to put your leg across there, as if it's coming into contact with that, so your knee's really painful and it's hurting. Be alert to start with, so you're talking to them very rationally, and then gradually just sort of close your eyes every now and then. Just gradually this over a period of time. Then start only responding to them when they talk to you. So then you're actually going down the scale, so they should start thinking she's going to have to come out a bit quicker. And then I'll probably come across here, I'll tell the instructor who's looking after this sector, you know, don't respond to them at all now. You're still breathing or anything like that. But it's to give them the clue that you're going downhill and they really should be getting you out.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
9 times out of 10 when we're training at RTAs back at station, we're using dummies. By using the live casualties, it gives them a better appreciation of their casualty handling, how to extricate them and how their actual bodies move when they're sort of lying, you know, pretending that they're unconscious, because it's a dead weight then. So the lads get a far better appreciation of moving the casualties from the vehicles.
Am I conscious, unconscious?
I want you to be unconscious if you can.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to shut you in now.
What's happened here is that we've had a light aircraft come down on the motorway, multiple vehicles. As you can see, casualties are spread over quite a wide area, so with the resources we've got here, we're doing the best we can.
Okay, just keep talking to her, let her know what.
Casualty. Safe.
So we're going to remove it to the ambulance now so we can take care of it. Are you okay there?
We'll invite the Casualty Union just to pass comment on generally how they felt within the car regarding you treating them nice, you keeping the C-spine in control, and generally informing them of what was going to happen within the rescue.
Handling was good. The only comment is I think airways, in that I was crouched over and there was no suggestion of neck brace or anything for 15 minutes. I think possibly a bit quicker on that. Otherwise, handling was good. Talking to me was good. And the dead wife beside me, that was taken away quietly, and I was told that everything was all right, nothing to worry about.
Paul,
That's me, yeah.
you didn't tell me your name. I only picked it up from your mates.
You know what tells the name.
You asked me my name. Neck holding. It was all right, but wasn't as good as it could be. But she talked to me, which was the main thing. If you're shocked and frightened, somebody talking to you, told me everything that was happening, so that was great. Yeah, and the handling out was good. Right? Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Details of what happened here are still extremely sketchy. We know the coach had turned off the motorway and was heading towards the service area behind me when for some reason the driver lost control. It careered across the tarmac and into the front of the building. We know that the concourse was crowded at the time. We don't know how many people have been killed or injured on the bus or indeed inside the building itself. The first emergency services have begun arriving, more are on their way. We are forbidden to go beyond this tape here to see for ourselves. We will of course provide more details when we have them.
One exercise and sometimes two a year are what are called field exercises, and that's what we're doing today. So we have an urban search and rescue scenario and exercise, and also we have heart teams, and these are teams that deal with chemical and biological what are called hot zone scenarios. And what we're doing today is we're having a scenario where we have a release of a chemical in a bus crash, which affects a lot of people. So they have injuries to deal with, and as well as the chemical contamination, and have to go in their specialist equipment. There are certain things you can only test in a field environment, such as how people respond in kit with pressure, and how do they do manipulations of equipment. Is equipment fit for purpose? Are there some issues with equipment which have not been seen before? And doing it through in a real scenario, in a real concrete environment, is very, very valuable. The idea of this is to explore the operating procedures, the kit, and to see if there's any improvements that can be made. And one of the ways of doing this is to do this sort of procedure, document it carefully, and then make improvements from that. And it actually does work.
Just what we do is a procedure, just relax. Just give you a quick search, all right? Make sure there's nothing in your pocket.
We want to try and get an idea of whether there's anything that we can learn from the exercise today that can improve the experience of casualties who might be caught up in a real incident of this kind. Now, we're quite limited in how we can extrapolate from an exercise of this kind to a real incident, but we can capture some important perceptions that can usefully inform emergency response.
If you hold it in that position, that's the best thing for you, all right?
There's lots of positives to take from this. One of the things I was very pleased to see that occurred once the police had identified and contained the threat was that they identified that walking casualties in close proximity to the source were at risk, and they did their best to move those patients out. But clearly they recognised that there were significant numbers of patients here who weren't able to move, had immediate medical needs, and the realities are that until we had forward ambulance personnel forward, there hasn't been an opportunity to medically assess those, potentially to deliver countermeasures and higher level care so that we can get these people alive out of this environment into a better area to provide clinical care.
Whilst we were watching the exercise, there were some other casualties found on the top of the building who were uncontaminated but would have to be brought through the contaminated zone. And it immediately occurred to me that if we had contained the contamination and limited its effect, then there would have been decreasing levels of contamination around, and these people could have been probably brought through that area. But it is interesting, it's a very simple thing, but it's something which I hadn't seen. Now, it may have been there before I actually arrived, but I hadn't seen it, and nor had any of my colleagues. So something very simple, but if we don't learn from these exercises, then there's no function in having them, and learning is the whole process.
follow me.
Amanda, it would appear there's been a gas explosion. There are numerous persons on the scene. Fire brigade are already here. They're evacuating the walking wounded. We need the gas to be informed so they can come and cut off the supply. We're assuming at the moment it's a gas explosion. There are approximately 8 to 10 vehicles which are covered in debris. There are wounded here. I need ETA of the ambulance, please.
You put me right now, right? All right?
Does anybody else know about any other friends who may still be in the premises?
Oh, my mother's in there. Who is this gentleman?
I'm a store detective. Store detective working here.
Do you have, is there any security guards around, or there's a
Well, I'm the only one I can see now. My mate was there, but I think he's gone.
The house is on the inside.
Oh, Smith? You fallen? You fell over the car? That's all you made, is it?
Well, where's the key? I go over the door, we get the door open, look down, where's the key? No key.
Oh, my friend was stuck in there.
My friend has the offence, come back.
What are you doing to help them?
My friend's has to there. Come on, back here, we'll be safe.
How late?
Are we, we're gonna, well, we jump.
They can make their way to the door. Right, guide them out now, yeah? Count them as well, count them out. Guide them through the cars.
Now, somebody go down there and watch down.
You walking?
Just stay here for a second.
What are you doing to them now? Why aren't you helping them? Why are you standing
We
there?
are helping them, okay? Come and sit over here. Don't join the end of that line. Sit behind them in a separate group.
Structurally, at the front of the building's okay. Further on in the building, you've got shop fronts where there have suffered some collapse. But in the atrium area, it's okay for you to adopt your standard BA safe procedures and see what you can do for the casualties in there.
That's all the cars going up. How far? You'll be alright now. You'll be alright.
My friends to be here.
Okay, see this way.
On the edge, boys, who's on the edge?
Yeah, we're on the head. Over the head.
So she's got a collar on, she's got blocks on. Yeah.
And your leg. Have you been unconscious that you're aware of it?
It's going to be difficult, isn't it? What if I get up to you being sort of the stronger one? Is that going over there?
Just get around now and then we'll take it. Okay.
Do your leg. You can't move to the leg. Try that then, let's try that.
Oxygen in there.
Yes. Yeah, on three then. 1, 2, 3.
Well done.
Get on the plane. Get the stick underneath. Okay, I'll sit down, mate. We're going to get you out now. Well done, well done. Sit that ass back down. Hang on, sorry.
All right, Sean. Well done, well done. Well done. This person needs to be moved now, so this stretch, yeah? We can have 3 or 4 boys in here, or just make a chain.
Slow down.
Steady. Well done, Sean.
Don't go forward anymore. I got to wait the back here.
Okay, I will after this time. You need to reach the floor. Hold on, put a minute back. Just readjust. Okay, I'm on here. Well done, Sean. Well done. Well done.
Okay, Sean. You're going to go through the window now. Come along, you'll be the medics waiting the other side.
Oh, coming out! What's up to our lights?
Some of these C-spine and some of these. I got it, yeah, I got it.
Don't trip on